I run a books chain called Bahrisons, which is based in Delhi. We're a family bookstore. We've been in business for about 62 years now, and strength to strength, year by year, we're adding one new store now.
I run a store called the Browser Library and Bookstore in Chandigarh, and we started it together in the year 1997. It's been about 18 years now. The difference about our store is that we have an integrated library and bookstore under one roof. We have a concept which we call as buy, borrow, browse.
And we're quite happy being just booksellers. We don't do any merchandising. We don't do any stationery. We only do books. And we do brick and mortar sales, which is selling from physical stores. Of course, we do have an online presence also. We sell through our websites. But our main force is selling on the ground, which is from a physical bookstore.
The unique thing about a library, which is what we wanted and which has really helped us till this day, was that we never select a title for the library for people to borrow. The people selected themselves. So basically what we've done is we have the bookstore open. The first copy of any book that a customer wants as a library member is free to be circulated. Once that copy goes into circulation, it remains in the library for future members.
The whole scenario of selling books and the whole outlook towards selling books has changed, because there has come the introduction of the online store along with the offline store, which actually I personally feel is an expansion of the market rather than diminishing the market. This is how I look at it. Because no matter what, whether the physical bookstore has started selling less from the brick and mortar and more online, but technically it is an increment in sales for the publishing world, by and large.
This was a very laid-back trade. If I go back 15 years in my time and I see how we started, none of the publishers were computerized. Everything was based on manual processes. You had to hunt for inventory. And the onus was always on the bookseller to, find the books he needed. The publishers or the distributors were relatively laid back. Today, because of the online changes, everybody has computerized inventory, efficiency, pressures are there. So today, the distributors and publishers are also more efficient, more proactive in terms of serving, dispatching, at least giving you answers whether the particular title is there or not. But the problem is that, the publishers have shifted the focus entirely to the online space. They are not supporting the independents the way they used to support. Somehow there is a feeling that says that, okay, if your online player can give you 70-80% of the sales, then how does a bookstore sitting up country, which may be generating, a fraction of that, how is it important anymore? We might as well as, neglect it.
That what America did to its brick and mortar bookstores, which means to basically kill them, in about 20 years' time, we've taken up this whole mission to do that in India in 5 years. And everybody wants to make money. But as publishers, as booksellers, as readers, we have some social justifications that we have to live by. It is so important that when an author wants to go and visit a bookstore to see his book or her book in a shelf, where do you take them? You take them to a brick and mortar store. Now, if you're going to be the death of a brick and mortar store, why is an author and how is an author going to go on an author tour? Author tours are very important because it brings you closer to the public and to your readership. There are so many readers. If an author tour is announced, there are lots of people who actually queue up to speak to the author. And it's a trade and a business of passion. So, most bookshops have a unique selection. I won't say a USP, which is, I won't say a selling point, but it's the uniqueness of every bookshop around the world. You specialize in something that you are passionate about, You build your collection around it, and that is how bookshops grow.
So what they do is today as booksellers, the way we face it, you get a lot of Indian titles in 20s, 30s, 50s being sent to you. You don't even have the space to keep them. You don't know which one of them is really going to sell. But the turnover is completed there. And that depth of selection that we used to have, where we used to really hunt for the authors and the titles and the way that we wanted to build our range, that leeway has decreased.
I'll talk about my store, but I think this is actually a universal phenomenon. Every bookstore around the world will keep the front list top seller big book of the week up front in the display, if I'm not wrong. No matter what kind of a collection it is, maybe a academic collection, maybe a trade collection, maybe a thriller, the book of the week, which is the top 10 books, will always find the top shelf space with multiple copies.
For example, when we designed our bookshelves, so while there is a couple of bookshelves which are absolutely new arrivals and bestsellers, like he says, and everybody has that, and that is very much there. But apart from that, in each subject, we have incorporated a special window kind of a feature, wherein in that particular window, only certain books of those subject can be highlighted. So we put up lighting also, and we've made those glass panels. And supposing you are having a section on fiction, and let's say a Nobel winner has been announced, or any reason why you want to highlight a particular author in that week or anything. So just those books in that particular section would be also highlighted separately.